if you can, I got a couple questions about Mark. Is he practicing or around the team? So he's around, okay.
Yeah,
so it's just a game, okay. And it's been termed temporary. Do you know how many games it is?
Not exactly. No.
Okay.
Not.
So it could be over at any time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And was the suspension or whatever it is your call or the athletic department's call or the university? Okay. Okay. All right. With him out of the rotation, Painter said the other night that it made it easier to focus their defense on D'Angelo because they didn't have Loving on the other side to stretch him. And I just wondered how, you mentioned that the offense looked like it was in quicksand the other night at times, and I just wondered how, number one, how much time did you have to prepare for Purdue knowing that you weren't going to have Mark, and what have you had to do to adjust since then to try to execute your offense?
Yeah, honestly, haven't made a ton of changes. I mean, you look at Jay Sean was 0 for 2 from 3 and had 2. I mean, they were in and out. You know what I'm saying? So we haven't done anything drastically different in terms of our offensive scheme or anything like that. We needed more pace to what we were doing. We needed more push. We weren't running the floor as hard as we should have been running the floor. We didn't convert. We had some opportunities in transition and didn't convert. And those are the things that we talked about in terms of trying to play at our pace as opposed to Purdue's pace in that game. Pace.
Why is it $64,000 question? That why you've said this before, that you've got your plans from every practice you've ever run, and at times you go back to them to see how you handled this several years ago. But I wondered why is it so difficult for this team to sustain that consistency that you want in his energy, execution, and toughness?
I don't know if I have the answer. I think we're probably, I probably want a little bit more than, in terms of my satisfaction. But that's what I'm pushing for in terms of trying to get them to play at that level. I think, you look and, take the Maryland game, and we thought we played great and all that. Well, we were making shots, which definitely helped kind of the flow, the energy when the ball was going in the basket. And we were, in the games that we've lost this year, we've struggled to, percentage-wise of making shots, and give the defense credit on those. I mean, it's not like they're going to let us get wide-open shots.
Not specifically on Mark's case, but we tried to think of players that this has happened to before under you, and we can't really think of any. But just you as a coach, that a player has let down the basketball family and his teammates and his, for whatever reason, how do you feel about that? That when a player lets down his family like that?
Right. Well, I think that it's something that none of us want to deal with, but I think you look at it like an injury, and it's something that you've got to look at the situation and say, hey, we've got to move forward. We've got to carry out the task in terms of playing our best basketball. I think that there's the one thing about college athletics, there's a lot of life's lessons that are taught not only on the court but off the court. And I still think, that nobody loves to win more than I do, but I think from the standpoint of when you're trying to shape and mold young men into people for the rest of their lives, sometimes a setback may be the best thing that happens.
Coach, with Mark out temporarily, it seems like Cam's kind of the obvious guy to sort of stretch the floor for you guys and hit some open shots. What have you said to him about sort of filling that role? And you've said he's like a confidence shooter, maybe giving him some confidence.
Well, I think the one thing, like in the first half there tonight, Cam was just out there, and we talked at halftime. Said, hey, look, you gotta create, you've got to find opportunities to shoot the basketball. I think the other guy that we need to play at a higher level is Keita, and he's been very, very good in practice here the last couple of days, and we're pushing him to just say, hey, you got to take the bull by the horns, and you got to get out of the front seat, get out of the back seat, get in the front seat, and make things happen. So, with that said, hopefully he's another guy along with Cam that can help stretch the defense.
In terms of Mark not playing, in that situation, you're probably looking at other people to step up and make some contributions. And I think about two of your seniors, Sam Thompson, Shannon Scott. It would have maybe helped the cause if they could have contributed more points. Maybe they were trying and it just wasn't working. I don't know. What's your standpoint on that these guys are your senior leaders, and in this case of need,
right,
you probably needed them to come through a little bit more. And as I said, maybe they were pressing. I don't know, but just your thought on how that all worked out, and if you're going to lean on those guys further to get through this.
Yeah, well, we're definitely a unique team because we're all seniors and all freshmen. That is very, very unique. But I think, Sam and Shannon, we needed those guys to play a little bit better on the offensive end, just in terms of, making some shots, that sort of thing. Both guys, I think, bear the responsibility in terms of knowing that, we need Shannon to shoot better than 1 for 8, and he'll do that. I mean, the one thing about those two guys, you can always count them on the defensive end, but obviously we do need a little bit more scoring from them as well, which goes back to how those two score is through pace and push and transition and that sort of thing.
Hey, Thad, can you elaborate a little bit more on just Keita's development this year, what you've seen from start to finish to this point?
Yeah, well, I think this. I've been on Keita all year to be more aggressive. I want him to shoot the basketball. He's a shooter. I brought him here to shoot, and I think sometimes he's out there trying to sort of fill his way, but with his length, and he's played some really good minutes for us, and I think that's just something that I've said this. I think Keita's going to be a great player here at Ohio State, but we need him to, just be a little bit more aggressive in terms of his approach.
Do you think an opportunity like this where you might need to lean on him a little bit more could lead to maybe a breakthrough for a young player, an opportunity for somebody to maybe take a step forward that they wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity to have?
Yeah, no question about that. I think that that's what I'm hoping happens. It's like when David Lighty broke his foot one year and William Buford comes off the bench and becomes the newcomer of the year in the Big Ten. Probably a little bit too late for that now, but I think just from the standpoint of we definitely need it because Keita can score it, he can rebound, he's so long and athletic. We can use him on the defensive end as well.
You said before you went to Purdue that you were answering a question about having another 4 out of 5 on the road. You said you want guys on this team who embrace the challenge of playing on the road in the Big Ten, and I'm wondering if you think you've got that.
I don't think we had that to the level I wanted it on Wednesday. Hopefully with what we've done in terms of our preparation and how we prepared for this game, they'll have more of a sense with it. But I think from the standpoint you look at Rutgers and how they've played at home and how they've played on the road, it's been drastically different. So that you're going in and you're going to get a team's best shot, and telling our guys, hey, we've got to be ready and embrace that challenge and be ready to fight back.
Obviously, they're pretty much an unknown to everybody, fans and most teams, until you look at tape. So what have you seen about what you have to be prepared for?
Well, they run variations of the Princeton offense. A lot of handoffs, backdoor cuts, those types of things. I mean, obviously the Mac kid is an unbelievable scorer from the point guard position. We're gonna have to do a great job on him. And then, they're long, they're athletic, and they keep balls alive on the offensive glass. And defensively, they really use their length and quickness to their advantage.
In recent weeks, it looks like you've had D'Angelo initiating the offense more with the ball in his hands, and Shannon starting off the ball, maybe getting a handoff. But is that something that you consciously did at some point in the schedule? Because, I don't know, is D'Angelo better at scoring with the ball in his hands than he is from coming off screens or things?
You know what? He can be. I think that, one of the things that we've talked with D'Angelo about is we've got to move him a little bit more off of screens. I mean, he's shown that he can score so many different ways, and I think that the other night we did have the ball in his hands a lot, but we definitely want to get him moving and having him look at all the different ways to use the offense to score. So it's not like a conscious thing. I think that we're looking at him and saying, hey, how do we get the ball in your hands in different positions on the floor, off the ball, as well as with the ball, but more so off the ball from the other night.
You said, you're trying to treat Mark's absence as an injury, but he's still practicing with the team. As a coaching staff, how do you approach that other than just telling the guys, because he's still practicing, but he obviously can't travel?
Well, I think everybody is, including the players, are resilient. It is what it is. It's going to snow 1 to 3 inches in New Jersey. We'll adjust to it when we get there. You know what I'm saying? You just move on, and I think you keep the vision of what you have to do in the forefront of your program and preparation.
Yeah, with D'Angelo, he hit the clutch three-pointer to get you down to 2 points with 20 seconds left. But he's also had a couple of these situations where he's had to have the ball in his hand, like at Indiana and this game Purdue at the very end of the game, and hasn't come through, just hadn't made the shot. What's his psyche? And I assume he wants the ball in that situation. And just how do you manage that? And
I think
take it that he lost the game in that sense.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He wants to take the shot, and I think from the standpoint of the kid's a winner, and I've seen no ill effect of his psyche or anything like that. He had a great practice yesterday, and so it is what it is, and you hope that we're not in that situation. And everybody gets on me for not calling timeouts, but I wish I could have saved one for that situation. But it is what it is.